Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to the live stream. We're going to talk about how to build muscle, how to put muscle on your body. If you're over the age of 50 or over the age of 40, we're going to go over like 9 different proven methods that I've been using on myself and on my clients for like over 35 years. Some of them are advanced, some of them are really simple. But the whole concept of this live stream is I want to show people how over the age of 50 you still can put on muscle. You really should put on muscle. There's so much research now indicating that it can increase your longevity when you get older, your muscle mass. There's so many things, there's so many positive benefits to having muscle on your body as you age. And you don't necessarily have to lift really heavy weights. You can use moderate to even light weights. It seems now that research is showing that any rep range, whether you're doing 30 reps or whether you're doing 3 reps, can put on muscle. So the techniques I'm going to go over is going to be with moderate weights, and we'll break all 9 of them down. So let's jump right into this. And actually, I just got off the I just jumped off the treadmill. That's why I'm wearing the shirt. I wanted to jump in the shower, but I didn't have time because I wanted to tell everyone on Instagram to come over and check out the live stream. But let's jump into it. Okay, mastering weight training after 50. And just give me a thumbs up, guys, because I know there's a bunch of people here, but I'm not seeing any comments. I typically see some comments, so just give me a thumbs up. So we're going to go over mastering weight training over the age of 50, and we'll go over 9 dynamic weight training methods, carefully curated for individuals over the age of 50, designed to maximize muscle gains while ensuring that you're not going to hurt yourself, that is injury proof. These are like injury proof methods. I'm not seeing the guys, I'm not seeing any of the messages. It says top 4 messages, and I'm not seeing them. So let's go. I'm going to go a little bit further. If there's an issue, I'm not seeing it on YouTube either. Okay, Blue Sky, good morning, great topic. Okay, Harriet, I'm here. Okay, Harriet's here. So I guess everything is being broadcast correctly. Okay, which is great. Perfect. And Blue Skies, I think that for some reason they're coming on the phone before they're showing up on the computer. But let's jump into it. Okay, so we're going to go over number 1. We're going to go over what drop sets are. Then number 2, we're going to go over this basic. I guess I spelled everyone basic antagonist, the superset method, like opposing muscle group method. We'll talk about that. Then we'll talk about how to train with continuous tension, which I think is a great technique. I've been using it forever. We'll go over pre-exhaustion supersets. We'll go over slow rep cadence method, high rep method, like just doing like high reps. We'll go over supersets and giant sets. It's funny, I see my dyslexia with these slides. I made them this morning. I see some mistakes already. See, at first I didn't see that there was like giant sets, which all capital. It's kind of funny. I see it now. Rest pause training. That's a real cool technique. And upper body, lower body supersetting. I know you may not be familiar with these terms. I'm going to break them all down for you. It'll make. Hey, Alexander, thanks for showing up. I know, Alexander. I almost was going to do like I know we talked about Ozempic last time. I didn't want to like talk about medication, but I did quickly since you popped up. I did speak to my that editor, that guy who like follows all this stuff, and he was talking about it this week. And I specifically asked him about Ozempic, and he was saying that there is some new research now saying that it slows digestion. That's one of the mechanisms in which it helps you lose weight. Besides making you less hungry, it also slows the digestive process. Similar to when you're taking like opioids and things like that. And he's found some research and people start talking about it now that one of the side effects is even when you stop taking it, your digestion might be slowed for like an extended period of time, maybe somewhat indefinitely. So that's another concern a little bit with the medication. And I haven't found that Peter Attia article. I looked for it this morning too. I didn't see it. But we'll talk about it. I just don't want to do a whole presentation on it because I don't want to come across like I'm a doctor. Oh, Rita. Hey, Rita. Hey, Mike. Glad I made it. I'm glad you made it too, Rita. Thanks a lot. That's great. So let's go over all these. Each slide has 3 different techniques on it, 3 different methods. I'll break them all down with the slides so we understand them a little bit better. And then Q&A. I don't think I put any meals in this week, but I'm sure I can find some. I'd make too many videos. Let me blow this up, make it a little bit bigger so we see it. I'm gonna turn this over so we got even some more. We got some more space. And once again, guys, sorry for the shirt. I just got off the treadmill. I wanted to start starting these things right on time all the time now. Because let's talk about what the drop set method is. I'll read it, what I wrote, and then I'll explain it in greater detail. Perform an exercise with a certain weight until close to failure. Then immediately reduce the weight and continue with more reps to push muscles closer to their limits. This is just a simple method. I use it all the time. It's one of my favorite ways of training the drop down method. So let's say you're doing bicep curl. Everyone understands what a bicep curl is. Like you're just curling, you're just curling a weight, doing a bicep curl. Let's say you can do 25-pound dumbbells. If you're a gal, someone like Alexandra, maybe you're using 15 or 12s. You want to do a set close to failure. See, if I made a note on the slide saying 2RIR, that means reps in reserve. A lot of these techniques, people like to always talk about them taking them to failure. I don't think you should train to failure almost ever. Very, very rarely. I think you should come close, keep a couple of reps in reserve. So all these techniques I'm talking about, I'm talking like 85-90% effort. I think you'll do just as well, if not better, especially when you're older. You don't have to train to failure. So you do a set, like say for me, maybe I'll grab a pound of 30-pound dumbbells. I'll do like a pretty reasonably hard set. I'm getting pretty fatigued at around 15 repetitions. I don't want to hurt myself and train to failure and just grind out 2 more reps. I put the weight down and then I drop down. I just grab a lighter weight. Instead of grabbing 30s, I might grab 20s. Then I do another 5, 6, 7 repetitions. I may put that weight down. Then I may grab the 15s and do another 5 or 6 repetitions. It's one of my favorite ways to train the creative response, metabolic stress. It's a real safe way of training, especially when you get older. And research is really showing you can put on as much muscle as you want using light to moderate weights as opposed to always training heavy. Like over the age of 50, unless you're just a powerlifter and that's your life and that's your sport, I don't think you should be in those low rep ranges. I don't think you should ever really go below 12. You're going to see one of the techniques is high rep training, 20, 50 reps, which I love too. I would stay in that 15 to 20 rep range and do these drop down sets. It's a great way to create a response in the muscle. It gives you that nice burn. I've been doing it forever and absolutely love it. Hey, retired 219. Thanks, Herb, right? Thanks for showing up, Herb. Mike, I did my first pull-up. I'm 60. Oh my God, that's incredible. Awesome. Herb, use those bands. I mean, I have them at my gym. I don't know if you have them at home. Those big, thick bands. You can stand on those bands because I'm so proud of you for doing 1 rep, but that's still very, very heavy to only be able to do 1 rep. I'd rather you pretty much stand on those bands where you hook your feet on those rubber bands. It'll make your body weigh 50, 60, 70 pounds lighter, and then you can do some reps because it's truthfully a pull-up is very rough on the elbows when you can only do 1 repetition. So I would be a little careful with that, but that's incredible. That's incredible. Hey, Nicholas, how we doing? Hey, Mike, what's your opinion on taking vitamin D supplements during a 24-hour fast or even 48? I probably wouldn't, Nicholas, just because I think it's going to upset your stomach. Vitamin D can be a little difficult on the stomach, I find. You can experiment with it. I mean, a young guy like you, I'd rather just see you get outside and get some sunlight, So, if you want to take like a multivitamin or vitamin D, talk to your parents about it, your pediatrician, when you are, when you're taking it with food. But I don't know if I would do it at your stomach. I find vitamins upset your stomach. It's not like a protein powder or essential amino acid supplements. Those won't. But I find, never take... Vitamins are real rough on the stomach. Some are worse than others. I find vitamin B is tough. D can be rough on the stomach, for sure. So I probably wouldn't. Because that's the first method. The drop-down set method, I use it constantly all the time. You can train it with every single body part. Also, does that break the fast? No, I don't think it'll break the fast. There's probably next to no calories in it. I don't think it will break it. Let's see. Hey, Coach, greetings from Italy. Oh, Italy. Oh, that's fantastic. I don't know if you've been following me, but we just had 2 trips to Italy. I was in Rome about 6 months ago, and we just got back from Florence and Tuscany, and it was incredible. We loved it. I just got back about a month ago. It was incredible. Okay. Retired 219. The gym has an unassisted pull-up machine. I will take your advice. Yes, use that. I love that machine. That's you can counterbalance. You put the pins in, you counterbalance. Like I said, the first gym I ever joined was a Nautilus gym. I'm going to talk about Nautilus a lot on some of the later techniques with the pre-exhaustion. But Nautilus had this, Arthur Jones, he's the creator of Nautilus. He built this incredible, he built incredible pieces of equipment. Well, one piece was, it was actually a negative. See, negative, concentric and eccentric, okay? You're always stronger when the muscles are being lengthened under tension. Once again, back to the bicep. Like if you're making a muscle, if you're making a bicep, this is a concentric. The muscle is shortening. But when you lower the weight, it's lengthening under tension. That's an eccentric load. That means it's lengthening under tension. You're about 30-40% stronger eccentrically. So Arthur Jones had this really cool system. He had this ladder where you would you would climb up these steps, and then you would be on the top of the chin-up bar, and then you can just lower yourself. That's another good technique you can try too. But I love those counterbalance ones where you put the pin in and it makes your body weight lighter. I think it's great. I think it's a great machine. Love that. I didn't say that's one of the advanced techniques I did not put in this the negative training, because people I find can hurt themselves a little bit with that negative training where they only train eccentrically and do things like that. That Arthur Jones machine even had, this is why we overtrained as kids, had a belt that I would wear around myself with weights. So like I wasn't satisfied just doing pull-ups with my body weight. I had to add 50, 60 pounds and do negative. See, that was like kind of crazy. Okay, this is Nicholas. I'm doing a 48-hour fast to kickstart all of the benefits I had in 2022 because my skin didn't look real in 2022, incredibly smooth and no spots. Okay, you can do that, but just don't overdo it, Nicholas. I know you said you're 150 pounds, you're at your goal weight, you're doing really good. You know, I think it's fine if you want to do it, but just be a little careful. Don't overdo it. Well, let's see. Should I continue working out? Of course you got to continue working out. Absolutely, definitely. Okay, let's go over this one. This one I did a video on this that I released last week. I thought I would do better. I like the video. I explained this concept in great detail. This is like the basic agonist antagonist superset method. It's like opposing muscle groups. I'll give you that same example again by like when you make a bicep, right? You're shortening your bicep. What's actually lengthening? Your tricep. So they're antagonists, right? When you're doing a bicep curl, you're working your bicep. There's always a little bit of a co-contraction, meaning that even though your tricep is your opposing muscle group, there has to be somewhat of a contraction there, or else there'll be no stability in your elbow. You'd hurt yourself. But a great way to train, I'll read the definition, alternating between sets that target opposing muscle groups like bicep, tricep, without rest, increasing intensity at the same time. So it's a great way to save time, great way to get a pump in the gym. I like working both ends of like a joint in a way. So the technique would be, you would do, say, a set of bicep curls, and instead of resting and doing another set of bicep curls and resting and doing another set, you can go antagonistically back and forth. So you would do a set of bicep curls, then a set of triceps, say rope push downs, right? Then you rest, say 90 seconds. Set of bicep curls, set of tricep push downs. I'll come back to that. I know we have some questions. Let's see what we got. I've never done deadlifts and squats, and I don't know why. I never done deadlifts and squats. I don't know why it happened. Why? What happened? I mean, you hurt yourself, you're saying? I'm not sure what you mean. But I don't think, I mean, I like deadlifts and squats, but you don't have to do those movements. Or you can do them in a safer manner. Like you can do squats just holding dumbbells in your hands. Start with bodyweight squats, work the dumbbells. That's a great way to increase the resistance without loading your back. You know, deadlift when you get older, I prefer an RDL, a Romanian deadlift. I find the injury rate is so much less when you do Romanian deadlifts because you're not really going that low, and you know, some people round their back a little bit. Look up RDLs. I may have a video on my site. I'm not sure. If not, I'm going to make one. I like RDLs, Romanian deadlifts, on YouTube. There's so many great people showing you how to do them. Okay, this is Nicholas. I'm not doing a 40-hour fast for weight loss. I'm doing it for skin and cleaning up the body. Okay, so you're doing like autophagy, tighten up the skin. You think like it's going to eat away the that's like a Dr. Jason Fun thing. He feels like if you fast while losing weight, you get less loose skin. He feels like the body cannibalizes like those dead, the proteins you don't need in a way. You know, you can look at it like that. I'm not sure if there's much truth to that. I know Dr. Jason Fung, he's a smart guy. He believes it. Kind of interesting. Let's see, Alexandra. This is cool. Oh, thanks for the super chat, Alexandra. I appreciate it. Let's see. If you're only doing 30 minutes a day of resistance training, can you do okay, let me say this slow. I'm talking a little too fast today. If you only do 30 minutes a day of resistance exercise, can you do it every Monday to Friday, or is it too much? If you're only doing, only doing 30 minutes of resistance training, can you do it every Monday? Oh, you mean every single day? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? I probably wouldn't do that much, but you could, if I'm understanding you right. You know, ask the question again if I'm getting you wrong. If you want to do like 30 minutes every day, then you got to really split things up. I know it's somewhat popular in the last 10, 20 years that younger guys, like a lot of bodybuilders, they go to the gym and they only train one body part a day. My buddy's doing this now, which I'm kind of surprised because he's my age. Like, you know, they do biceps one day, triceps the next day, shoulders, chest, back, quads, hamstrings. I don't really like that technique because to me there's so much overlap. I think you're eventually going to hurt your shoulders because whenever you train your upper body, always work your shoulders. So you never get a chance to rest. I like the idea of creating a response, resting, moving on. Like I like the basic splits, like upper body one day, take a day lower body, upper lower, or you can go push pull, which is classic, legs back bicep one day, chest shoulders triceps the next day, kind of like this antagonistic type thing. I mean, I used to do a split, which I liked for many years. I liked the training chest and back one day, antagonist, right? Then I would like take a day off. Then I would do shoulders and arms. Then I would take a day off and train legs, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you want to do that, Avalanche, you could, but you got to make sure. I would probably go upper, lower, upper, lower, upper, lower to make sure you don't overlap. You know, you can train like your chest, shoulders, and tricep, you know, legs, you know, quads, hamstrings, maybe lower back, calves, maybe do abs one day. The next day, do chest, back, shoulders, and arms. And you can repeat like that. But I wouldn't do that one body part thing like other people do. So if I understand that what you asked correctly, let me know. If not, you know, keep on asking questions. I'll go into that in more detail. Okay. Retire 219, Herb here. Keep reading. I keep reading lifting heavy increases testosterone. I get confused about light higher reps. I think they both will to some degree, but I don't even look at weightlifting as increasing testosterone. Yeah, it can create a human growth hormone spike, a testosterone spike to some degree. You eat right after you work out, you might get rid of it. You know, it's very confusing. The testosterone, in my opinion, effects of yes, having more muscle on your body and weight training is going to help that to some degree. But I just think more when it comes to testosterone, especially when you get older. I'd probably say sleep is probably number one. Just sleeping 7-8 hours every single night and just living just a healthy, active, normal lifestyle, eating well and all that. I mean, the weight training helps, but I wouldn't look at, like I say, weight training just for that big spike. The same thing with fasting. Some studies show that intermittent fasting, you have to really fast though for extended periods, more like what Nicholas is talking about, you know, increases human growth hormone. I did read one study, one of my favorite studies though, showed that it decreased testosterone, you know, for intermittent fasting. Like, it was one of my favorite studies on weightlifters because it was one of the only studies that I ever read on intermittent fasting where people ate the same amount of calories, same macros. I'll explain it to you quickly. There were two groups, and these were like weightlifters, and they only studied weightlifters were doing 16-8. One group of the weightlifters ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Ate 3 meals, like within a 12-hour eating window, right? Typical diet. Same protein, same fat, same calories, same macros. Then the other group, it may have even been the same group, but they made them like take 3 months off and then do it again. The same group ate the same thing, but did it within an 8-hour eating window. And they were lifting weights the whole time. The interesting thing is that the group that did the 16-8 weightlifters actually lost more body fat, did not lose any muscle mass like people may think that you would happen from fasting. They actually did better. They lost body fat, maintained muscle mass. They did really well. Just as good, actually better with body fat loss than the group that ate the 3 meal in the 12-hour eating window. But one of the differences was, which is, I'm not sure why, the testosterone levels went down a little bit. Not much, but enough for the researchers to make a note. But the researchers also noted that they didn't look at free, which is the main thing. They didn't look at free testosterone because testosterone can get really complicated. So Herb, I would just say, sleep well, number one. You sleep 7-8 hours a night, uninterrupted sleep if you possibly can. Blacken out your room, do all those good things. Circadian rhythm, you know, it's so much in hormones. Yeah, lift weights for a little bit of that testosterone, human growth hormone, but more just to create the response. You know, the metabolic stress, the muscle tension, the breakdown of the muscle from lifting weights. Look at it like that. And that's what's going to increase your muscle mass and maintain your muscle mass. Let's see. Okay, I'm 41, recently found the lower back pain and diagnosed with, okay, this is what you're saying. Diagnosed with slip discs. Should I continue working out? I've never done deadlifts and squats ever in my life. Okay, for right now, I wouldn't deadlift or I wouldn't squat. What I would do a couple things. First of all, I would look up a guy named Stuart McGill. I talk about him all the time. He's probably my favorite expert when it comes to lower back pain. He's written textbooks. I read all his textbooks. He was a professor out of Canada, world-renowned guy when it comes to like how to heal back pain. He works with a lot of like professional, world-class powerlifters who've broken world-class records. And you know, like if you're a famous athlete and you got back pain, you can't heal it. You go to Canada and you do a private session with this guy and he tells you what to do. This is if it's a biomechanical thing. If it's like a slip disc, doesn't mean the disc is slipped. It means that, like, you know, in between your vertebrae there are jelly, those cushions of jelly. Sometimes the jelly either bulges, that means it slightly comes out, or actually a herniation when the gel actually sticks out. Every lumbar disc on my back, in my lower lumbar, meaning those 5 lumbar vertebrae, is herniated or bulged. And I got a couple of big herniations in my neck. So I'm not sure which one it is. You know, it could be, typically is L5, S1, which is the last lumbar vertebrae, L4, L5, those are typical ones. I would do those the Stuart McGill big 3 exercises. I would start doing planks. I would start doing side planks. I would start doing, they call them churn the pot, like non-movement exercises to strengthen the core. Look him up. I've done some, and these exercises called bird dogs, where you're on your elbows and knees and you extend one arm and one leg. Look at him up, Stuart McGill, the big 3. Do that. Take it easy for now. I would walk a lot. Like his whole program is you do like 10-minute walks 3 days a week, 3 times a day. Walking is like the best thing you can do for your back too. And then you do these big 3 exercises. It's going to get better. The crazy thing is that sometimes you go to a doctor and they make you so like afraid of a herniated disc. Like it's never going to get better. It scars up. You know, it's not like the herniation is going to go away. Some people it dissolves. Some people it doesn't. But you can definitely get yourself back. And you don't have to squat and deadlift. I definitely wouldn't do that now. Okay, what do you suggest people do with lower back pain? Okay, so we just went over that. Stuart McGill, big 3. This is Nicholas. I lifted and get DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. Then I did the same workout when I had recovered, but the next time I didn't experience, because your body got used to it. I'm assuming, and most of the soreness comes from the eccentric load, meaning that it's called a sliding filament theory of muscle contraction. Like when muscles contract, they slide in between one another, and then when they separate, like when they pull apart, that's where a lot of the soreness comes from. Like when you eccentrically load. Like when you're lowering the weight, especially when you're stretching. Like when you do a dumbbell fly and your pecs are eccentrically lengthening, that's what creates soreness. You can stretch and get sore. There's even some research saying that stretching that creates soreness, it can give you some hypertrophy, which is kind of interesting. So soreness is never a good indication of how hard a workout is. Like you can almost do a lot of eccentric things like deep flies or stiff leg deadlifts. Movements like dumbbell pullovers where you're elongating your lats, on the eccentric load. You'll always get sore, even if your body's used to it. It's amazing. When you're lengthening a muscle in tension, that's a lot of times where soreness comes from. Let's see. More Nicholas. Do I have to make my workout harder every single time? Talking about weights, definitely not. But you do want progressive resistance over time. But you don't have to do it every time. Work in cycles, Nicholas. I mean, say to yourself, okay, at the end of 10 weeks, let's say you can bench press 100 pounds for 12 repetitions, and you say, at the end of 10 weeks, I want to bench 110 pounds or 115 pounds for 12 repetitions. Say, okay, I'm going to progressively make this workout harder, but it doesn't have to be every single workout. It could be every week. You put an extra like two pounds on the bar. Do things like that. Map out a plan and try to just incrementally, like micro progress from week to week, as opposed to from workout to workout. And just think, you only get bigger and stronger when you're resting. So you create the response in the gym or at home or working out, and then you have to let the body rebuild and get stronger. You can't go for it every single time. A young guy like you can probably go to muscle failure more than someone like me or someone like over 50. But even in your case, I keep a rep or two in reserve most of the time. I think human growth hormone does increase from fasting because I wasn't even lifting last year and my veins pop like crazy in my arms. No, it does. It does. It increases human growth hormone. Hey, Trey, thanks for showing up. Great info. Hailing from Trinidad. Oh, that's really cool. That's why the internet is just so incredible. We've got people from Trinidad, Italy. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. What are your thoughts on fasting for 36 to 48 hours? Then doing lower body lifting? You mean while you're doing the fast? I probably wouldn't, unless you're really used to it and that's your thing. Typically, I love those shorter fasts, like I talk about all the time, like a 16-8, 18-6, even a 20-hour fast with a 4-hour eating window. When I do those things, I'm lifting weights like crazy and doesn't affect me. But even when I do a 24-hour fast, I typically just walk. And I've only done a 3-hour fast because I didn't really enjoy it. I'm not a big 72-hour faster. I'll generally just walk. 36, alternate. That's like an alternate day fasting protocol type thing. I probably would do like my resistance training on my 12-hour eating window and probably walk on the 36-hour. But I know a lot of people do. It's also a lot of where you're coming from. If you've been doing this over and over again, if you're doing it every week, like say you do a 36-hour fast every week or a 48-hour fast every week and you're really used to it, I don't think you're going to be able to really go for it, when you're in a fasted state like that. unless that's your goal, and unless your goal, you really want to empty glycogen and get into ketosis or something, maybe. But I probably wouldn't. I probably would save the weight training on the days when you're taking in calories, for sure. I think you'll always do better. Okay, this is Alexander. Maybe I'll understand the question better. Okay. Yes, that's what I meant, 5 straight days of resistance training, but my program is the same every day. Push-ups, squats, side planks, dumbbell row, sit-ups. Yes, I definitely would change that, Alexandra, no question about it. Either I would do it only 3 days a week, and then maybe do some cardio on those other days, or I would definitely mix this up. So what you're doing is you're doing push-ups, okay, chest, shoulders, triceps, then you're doing squats, which is great, leg and bicep. That's like a technique we're going to get to later on when you go upper lower. Right. Then you're doing side planks, which is like, quadril lumborum, which is great. Then you're doing dumbbell rows. Then you're doing back. And then you're doing sit-ups. I'd be a little careful with sit-ups because I think they're kind of rough in the lower back. I'd rather see you do something else like turn the pot or like a wheel exercise. It's okay. I also would change your sequence too, because you're doing like, I would probably do like, I like maybe save the planks and the sit-ups and do them together at the end, because you're going through your whole upper body, like upper, lower. But if you wanted to split that up, like you could do, like one day you can do your squats, maybe add a set of lunges, do some lunges too, so get a nice leg workout, and then do your abs, do like your planks, your front planks, your side planks. I'm not crazy about sit-ups. Ever see that wheel exercise? I like to see you do something more along the lines of that. Then on the next day, if you want, you can do your push-ups, you can do your dumbbell row, do chest and back, and maybe do a little bit for your shoulders and arms. Maybe a set of laterals, one set of bicep curls, one set of tricep extensions. Do it like that. So you're doing like legs and core one day, and then you're doing chest, back, shoulders, and arms the next day. And if you want to do that 5 days a week, you can. And if you do it 5 days a week, that means 1 week, I know it gets kind of complicated, 1 week you'll be training like your legs 3 times, and your upper body only twice, but then the next week when you do it, flip it. So for example, I hope I'm not confusing you. Let's say Monday, you're doing your upper body. You're doing those push-ups, you're doing those rows, you're gonna add a set of laterals, dumbbell laterals for your shoulders, bicep, triceps, right? Tuesday, you do legs and abs, so legs and core. Wednesday, upper body, right? Thursday, legs, Friday, upper body. But the next week, you wanna flip it. You want to do legs 3 times. Legs Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Upper body Tuesday, Thursday. So you're going to average 2.5 workouts per week per body part over the course of the month, which will make more sense. So you know what I mean? Like you're going 2 1 week, 3 the other. That's a great way. I like that. That would be really good. But I also forget, because I keep on. You may have even told me that you may do some aerobics within that 30 minutes too. If you're doing that, then it's great. Then you can stick with this 5-day thing, but split it up better. You're going to do much better once you split it up, because you can't train a body part every single day like that. If you are doing it, you probably weren't you create a response and you're just breaking your body down, and you're going to get so much stronger by taking those breaks in between and letting those opposing muscle groups rest. No question about it. You'll see a difference the first month, for sure. Okay, Mike. What's your thoughts on Pilates? Is it effective? I think Pilates is great. It's interesting, because I've been working in gyms from the age of like 17. So 40 years ago, no one was doing Pilates. I think Joseph Pilates was like really frustrated. He had a core group of followers, like dancers and this and that. And I remember when it hit the scene, and then like after he passed away, like in the last 20 years, it's gotten so popular. I mean, I think it's great. I mean, I've never really got into it too much. I fooled around with it a couple of times. The big Cadillac, the big machine. I had some friends who were instructors, and they would try to hurt me. You know what I mean? Like, it's so funny when you have friends who are like using a different modality in fitness, like like someone like me who's more like a weightlifter and cardio and all that, and then I'll have like a friend of mine who's like really into Pilates. They always want to take me to their studio and like brutalize me. You know what I mean? Instead of just giving me an easy introduction to Pilates, they want to just like crush me. Make me like limp out of there. So it seems like every time I tried Pilates, it was an experience like that. Like a friend of mine invites me to come, Mike, you got or maybe they think I don't think it's a hard workout. It can be brutally hard, and they just try to like destroy me. That was the thing we used to do. Like in aerobics classes and things like many years ago. you know, someone from a different gym comes to your place or class and you just want to crush them. But you know, it's kind of funny. Yeah. Okay. This is Nicholas. There are one set of dumbbells where I can easily do shoulder presses, but the same weight I can't do bicep curls. You can't. There's no correlation there. You can't compare what you do with a shoulder press to what you do with a bicep curl. The different muscles, you know, the biomechanics, the moment arm of the movement, everything's completely different. Just do whatever you can for each body part for each exercise, and don't go too heavy. You stay within your limits for sure. You look really great for your age. How do you keep all those muscles? Are you on TRT? I'm 41 and I'm thinking about TRT. My free test is on the lower limit. Will be active and sleeping. Okay. No, I've never taken TRT. I'll be 61 in a few weeks. You know, I've been lifting weights and working out from the age of 16, like literally never missed more than a few weeks in my entire life. I haven't even tested my testosterone, truthfully, in like so many years. I think maybe 15 years ago, maybe it was tested once. I'm not really that concerned about it. I feel good. You know, I have mixed opinions about the testosterone. I think if you're really, really low, you know, I don't know what your numbers are. You know, your free or what should be like 1 to 3% of your total. If you're like if you're under 300, like in the twos, maybe do it. You know, there's an interesting concept to this, and I've seen this happen to a number of my guy clients, like in their 50s or so. You know, they want to go into testosterone. They go into testosterone, and they're married. They're happily married, and all of a sudden, things change a little bit. When you go into testosterone and you're in your 50s, you're a guy. You know, your libido is going to increase. Things are going to happen, and you want your wife or your partner or whoever you're with to be on the same page with you. And I've seen this happen where it can affect your marriage. It can affect a lot of things. Like if one person is all of a sudden has testosterone levels like when they're 30 years old again, and then your spouse, your partner is 60, like I am, you know, you guys are not on the same page. It's almost like if you're going to do it, I don't know if you're a single guy or, you know, whatever, make sure your partner maybe wanted to, maybe, you know, if you're married and it's your wife, maybe she wants to do hormone replacement as well too, you know, so you guys are kind of on the same page. I find that's a real issue. It really is. I've seen it happen. No one really talks about that much. But it's very hard for only one of the people, of the person of the couple, to do hormone replacement, whether it's human growth hormone. There's so many different things you can do now. It's like endless, the peptides and things like that. You know, I don't know. I had mixed opinions about it. If you're really struggling, like you're not sleeping, a buddy of mine went on it, and he's taking a very, very low dose. And he feels like he's sleeping much better. He feels better. So, I mean, hey, if you want to try it. But, you know, really talk about it with your doctor. I would say that. Okay, here's Alexandria. Or maybe do 30 minutes of resistance on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and 30 minutes of stationary back cardio Tuesday. I think that would be the best, Alexandria, actually. Yes, I would prefer that the most. And then you can even still do what I said, too. Like, if you don't want to do the same workout, you can still even use that split a little bit. But that workout's fine. I would add some shoulders and arms, though, to it. Like, do some laterals, or do a shoulder press, do a little bi and tries, even if it's just one set. You know? But I probably would prefer that, definitely. Hey, Crystal, good morning, Mike. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. That was great. Here's Trey. I train better fasted, see better results, eating very well according to macros within 2 hours. Oh, that sounds great. Okay, if you do it, who's that guy? What's his name? Thomas DeLore. The guy looks incredible. He used to be 300 pounds. Now he's like 200 pounds and shredded. He does like 95% of his workouts in a fasted state. I used to do a lot of working out in a fasted state, but it was like a 16-8 fasted state, meaning that I was only fasting for 16 hours. But I generally would work out in a fasted state, then break my fast and have lunch. When I do my cardio, I generally do that. I generally do my cardio in a fasted state. Like I always walk fasted in the morning 90% of the time, and then I even do some of my harder hit cardio workouts fasted. But when I generally do resistance training, like when I train my upper body or maybe even do my legs a lot, sometimes I'll take in like a pre-workout shake, a little protein. Like I always talk about that, do like a whey protein, egg protein, or hemp seed, maybe even put some collagen protein in there. And I do some beetroot powder and L-citrulline for nitric oxide. But hey, I mean, people love fasted workouts. So I'm not throwing you off at all. If it works for you, I think it's great. Just as long as you're taking in enough, like I say, enough protein, enough calories when you do eat. Right, I do Tabata. Oh well, Tabata. I know. I always had a hard time pronouncing that. It's pretty intense. hit 3 days a week, working different areas each day, then alternate with lifting, resistance training, and rest on Sunday, along with eating a calorie deficit and consume and sometimes meditate. That's great. I love it, Crystal. It sounds good. I like that Tabata because Tabata that short high intensity. I think I forget the exact ratio. I think it's like 10 seconds brutally hard. Is it 20 seconds easy or something like that? I think it's the 10-20, 10-20. I had a professor who was like a world-class cyclist 40 years ago who was doing that. Like it's very interesting because he would go, he'd bike. He felt like he overtrained maybe 6 months out of the year, but in the wintertime, all he did was at Tabata. Like he would go downstairs. He had a stationary bike. He would do that like this brutally hard, like 6-minute workout, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And we had all the equipment. We could VO2 test him. We would test him. And he found like he can do that, like, literally a 6-minute workout 3 days a week. And he can maintain his high VO2 max for 3 months, as opposed to biking for like hours every day in the biking season. It was really cool at Tabata. It's definitely a lot to it. Okay, Mike, I walk 12,000 steps every day and strength train 4 times a week. Am I doing too much? It's hard to say. I mean, I love walking. If you're walking at a comfortable pace, what's that, about 5-6 miles a day, 12,000 steps, I would guess. I mean, that's kind of what I do. I walk 5 miles every single day, and I lift weights 4 days a week. We do the same thing. I do upper Monday, lower Tuesday generally. Then I really do a lot of walking Wednesday, same thing Thursday, Friday. Then I walk over the weekends, and I sneak in 2 HIIT workouts, probably Tuesday and Friday. We're doing something very similar. I would have to say, as long as you're not like chronically sore and you feel good, I like it. And also as long as the weight training workouts are not too long. Like you don't want to be lifting weights for like 90 minutes. If they're under 60 minutes, they're 45 minutes. I think it's great. I love my body because my body doesn't like to put on fat. Sometimes eat 4,000 calories in one day, and I wouldn't gain. Oh, that sounds great, Nicholas. Like your metabolism is in good shape. Let's see. Hey, Susan, thanks for showing up, Sue. Great to see you here. Thanks. Susan's, I think, from. I'm not sure if she's on Facebook or YouTube. I was told in 2019 October that I had a vitamin D deficiency. Ever since January 1st, 2022, I've been taking D3 4,000 internal units, as well as getting out more in the sun. That sounds good to me. I like that, Nicholas. Definitely. That sounds great. Not to brag, but I can do 20. Oh, wow, Alexandria, that's really cool. I would love to see that. That sounds great. Good for you. Oh, that's great. I have a very deep voice. Does that mean I have high testosterone? Hard to say, Nicholas. I don't necessarily think so, but I'm not sure. Love Thomas DeWitt. Yeah, I know. He's definitely good. I listen to him all the time. Essentially, I wish I had a following like him. The guy's got 2-3 million followers. But it's interesting when I go into my analytics on the back of YouTube, like the people who watch Thomas's videos, a lot of the same people watch my videos too. Like he's like, YouTube gives you like an analytical list of like if someone watches you, who else do they watch, and I come up in the feed. So I think a lot of the same people watch me. He just has a 10 times bigger following. Yes, 2010. So it's 20 seconds really hard, 10 seconds easy. That's the Tabata split. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. And thanks for showing up. Okay, this is Mike. Okay, Cornell. Okay, Mike, I weigh 250 pounds. I'm 6'3". I'm struggling with finding a consistent method to get my meals and workouts. Any advice? Okay, sure, Cornell. Okay, I just released a video on Instagram talking about a guy who weighs 250 who wants to weigh 200. And I'll break down and I go over this formula, which over and over again is my favorite formula. First of all, 6'3", you're a big guy. I mean, 250, it depends how muscular you are. I mean, you can probably carry 220 at 6'3", pretty well. Maybe you want to lose 30 pounds. Let's assume that. I'm not sure if you're small framed. You're probably medium to large frame, 6'3", 250. The first thing you have to do is you have to get into a calorie deficit. So I would say, and this is my formula, if you follow me, multiply your body weight by around 10 or 11. So one day I'd like you to eat maybe about 2,500, 2,600, 2,700 calories, something around there. And I like cycling calories. The next day, go with your goal weight. Let's say you want to weigh 220. So the next day you want to eat about 2,200 calories. That's kind of a low day. But cycle that. Like one day, 2,500, 2,600. Next day, say 2,200, 2,300. That's going to be a little hard. And you always want to keep your protein up. That's the second thing. You want to multiply your body weight by, well, your goal weight by 0.7. Let me give you an exact number on that. Let's say your goal weight is to weigh 220, let's say. We'll multiply that by 0.7. That's at least 150 grams of protein a day. I eat 150. You can even go more. Every 4 ounces of chicken, fish, or meat is about 25 grams of protein. So like I would want you to eat like 2 meals, and you can look at go to Instagram or go to YouTube, all of my shorts, look at my shorts. You kind of eat like me. I would want you to eat 2 meals, say 9 ounces of protein, 9 ounces of fish, 9 ounces of chicken, 9 ounces of red meat. You know, if you have fish for lunch, you can have, you know, chicken for dinner. Like, don't double up. That'll be about 60, 65 grams of protein. If you did 2 meals like that, that'll put you at 130 grams around. And then you do 1 protein bar, 1 protein shake like me in between. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to cycle your calories. One day you're going to eat 2,600 calories. The next day you're going to eat like 2,200. You're going to keep on repeating that. But every day you're going to take in a minimum of 150 grams of protein. You can even go more by eating like 9 ounces of twice a day of chicken, fish, and meat. Like a Greek yogurt, 15 grams of protein. An egg is 6-7 grams. You can eat eggs. As long as you're eating animal protein, you can easily get to that 150. And I'm also going to want you to do like a 16-8. That's my other favorite thing to do. Fast for 16 hours every day. It's going to make it so much easier for you to stay within these calorie limits if you give yourself only an 8-hour eating window. So you wake up in the morning, right? Let's say you're going to skip breakfast. You can eat breakfast if you want, but then you have to be done, you know, eating early. But let's say you're going to skip breakfast. You know, you drink, I would like get some mineral water. I like Pellegrino, even regular water. Squeeze half a lemon in it. Hydrate yourself, drink a lot of no-calorie liquids. You can have your black coffee, your tea, whatever you want in the morning. Then break your fast at 12 o'clock with a meal like I'm talking about. Look at all these meals that I do. You can eat just like me because, you know, your protein requirements are going to be about the same, but you can probably take in even a little bit more calories. But when I'm not in a deficit, I'm eating in the calorie levels that I'm prescribing for you to be in a deficit. Like at 2,500 calories a day, I'm pretty much at maintenance. You know, if I want to start losing weight, I would do, you know, I would go lower. So you want to have that nice big piece of protein, 2 different colored vegetables, eat an avocado every day. Look at all my meals. 12 o'clock, break your fast. You can have a protein bar, protein shake. 3, 4 o'clock, be done with dinner before 8 p.m. You're going to start losing weight, Cornell. There's no question about it. And the other 2 things you have to do, you got to start walking every day. You know, 30 minutes, if you can, twice a day would be incredible. Even 1 workout first thing in the morning in a fasted state like I do, I would absolutely love to see you do that. And then the 5th and final thing you have to do is what we're talking about right here. You got to do some resistance training. You know, whether you join in Planet Fitness or, like I say, just do the circuit, do 1 set of 12 different exercises twice a week for 20 minutes. I'm not sure how old you are. You look relatively young in the photo there. You look like a healthy, fit guy. You know, I mean, go to the gym twice a week for 30 minutes, or if you want to do it at home, you can do it at home. Use these techniques I'm talking about, and you got to be consistent. That's the key to the whole thing. You can do it. There's no question about it. You can definitely do it. Okay, let's see, Herb. How many calories do you eat a day? Yes, I generally, for me, it's interesting because I keep on talking. I'm doing this new coaching program, and I'm getting it all together, and I'm changing the software I'm using. I was using MyFitnessPal. But now I switched over to Trainerize, which that's what I'm going to be doing my coaching in. And I like their like food tracker much better. It's so much easier to use. And I started tracking mine a little bit. And I'm not losing or gaining now. I was losing a little bit a few weeks ago because I'm turning 61 in a few weeks and I started cutting back. Like I didn't drink for like 30 days. I only messed up 1 day. But now I'm off that. I may start up again on Monday though because I drank a little wine this week because I made my 30 days. So I'm around 25, 27 is probably maintenance for me with my activity level. Somewhere around there. But I like the cycle. Like some days I'll like, for example, today's my OMAD day where I'm only going to eat 1 meal. Like I'm fasting right now. I'm fasting all morning. Even I had my coffee. Now I'm just drinking water. I'm going to take I walked on the treadmill already this morning. I'm going to take my 45-minute walk after this. But then I have friends coming over. I love this couple. Okay, my friends who are coming over, they hired me. This is my friend Bill. He hired me in like 1983. Like I was still in college, and I worked for him, and we ran this gym. It was like incredible. And he married the aerobics instructor, and they're both coming over. You know, so they're like one of my best friends. So I'll do like a feasting 2-hour feast. I think they're coming over around 4 o'clock. So from 4 to 6, I'll probably drink, you know, some red wine today. Maybe have a couple of light beers or something too. I think we're gonna barbecue and make some chicken and things like that. So today will still be a relatively low calorie day for me. So maybe I'll eat 1,500 calories in this 2-hour eating window. So I look at it as not day to day. Plus, I love the idea of cycling calories. It's good for your metabolism to eat more calories one day, less the next day. More calories one week, less calories the next week. Taking diet breaks. It's really how many calories you take in over the course of the month. And when you eat, it increases your metabolism. So say I overate a little bit. Like say I was closer to 3,000 calories a day for a week, literally by just doing one OMAD day. And my OMAD day typically is not when friends come over where I'm going to have a beer or something. It would be more like I would take in 1,200 calories like a normal meal. That already may even me out for the whole week, just like one day. Those extra 300-400 calories I ate 5 days a week, that's 1,500 calories. I can eliminate that in one day by doing one OMAD day. You know, so there's so many different ways to do it. But calories is key. And I always take in protein. So I'm just to give you my long-winded answer, I'm maintenance probably around 27. But I do different things. Like some days I'll eat 2,000 calories, and the next day I'll eat 3,000. Or, you know what I mean? I'm all over the place. But I try to eat my meals the same time every day for my circadian rhythm. Right? Because that's important. Your body, you want that 24-hour internal clock to be on the mark. I try to go to sleep and wake up the same time every day, right? I try to get the sunlight. You know, I wake up pretty early, and then I try to get that sunlight early in the morning. That's part of the whole program. Okay, Alexandra, the thing is, my home gym is limited. I have a stationary bike, a few dumbbells, a yoga mat, so I can only do so many different types of exercises on the same muscle. I don't disagree with you, Alexander, but I think you can do so much more than you think. Just the fact that you have dumbbells, right? So the push-ups are incredible. If you can do 20 push-ups, I don't know how heavy these dumbbells go, but you're a strong gal. I mean, that's incredible. The only other thing I definitely would buy, and it'll cost you $10, $15. Buy a band. Those spree bands with a couple of different tensions. Those spree bands are literally going to come with this thing at the end. I'll show you guys next time that you can put on the door, high, medium, and low. It's like having a pulley system in your house for $12. Like you can put that, you can close it in the door on top. You can do lat pull downs, right? You can close it low. You can do seated rows. You can put them on the bottom, right? You can do like curls. So, and the fact that you have dumbbells, you can do anything. You can do like, instead of just doing body weight squats, you can hold the dumbbells. You can do lunges with the dumbbells, right? You can do shoulder presses. You can do lateral raises. You can do bent over rows like you're doing. Bicep curls. You can lay on the floor and you can do bicep extensions. There's just like an endless amount of exercises you can do. Just, you know, go to YouTube. I have a whole bunch. I'm going to start doing more and more stuff like this. You know, showing people maybe, and I'm even this coaching program that I'm doing, I'm going to do mostly dumbbells. Even some machines do, but I stay away from a lot of barbell movements when you get older. It's really rough on the shoulders, those barbells. You know, the shearing force is so much greater. Hey, Chris, how we doing? The 16-8 fasting has really helped me reverse type 2 diabetes. Great strategy. You know, I totally agree, Chris. See, I would say that's still a big debate, because when you look at the research, right, at least on the human studies, I mean, like the animal studies are incredible for intermittent fasting. Those initial studies I was so excited about with Dr. Panda, Satya Panda, who did them on mice, who showed like incredible things happen when you're fasting for 16 hours on mice. And humans are a little different. Most of the human studies, there are some that show great things, others show that it may not be any better than calorie restriction. No, but in my opinion, and there are some studies that back this up, when it comes to like reversing type 2 diabetes, or like if you're pre-diabetic, or this, like if you want to, you know, increase your insulin sensitivity, if you want to reverse insulin resistance, even if you're eating the same amount of calories, if you can do them with an 8-hour eating window and fast for 16 hours or 18 hours, I think you'll do better. I think you'll reverse, like Chris, type 2 diabetes so much quicker than if you just were restricting calories. Because just think, you're not spiking insulin 6-7 times a day with these small meals. You're really increasing insulin sensitivity, autophagy. You know, you're keeping your blood sugar so low, you know, for 16 hours. I truly think you'll do better. And I do think that the research down the road is going to show that even when you're eating the same amount of calories, you'll do better with your numbers with reversing type 2 diabetes and things like that if you're going 16, 18 hours fasting or doing like alternate day fasting, go 24-hour fast once or twice a week. Even though the research now, and people are getting on my case and say, Mike, you shouldn't, the research says it's no difference or no better than calorie restriction, even though it does work. Intermittent fasting is a great way of reducing calories. I can't, ignore what the studies show. I just think that in time, I think I think there will be some more conclusive proof that these 16-hour fasts are so good for you. So, but we'll see. Let's see, Herb. Mike, I don't weigh myself. Instead, I wear a fanny pack, and I know I am losing body fat when I need to tighten up my belt. No, I agree. It's funny. I'm wearing this. It's almost embarrassing. I don't want to show everyone. I'll show you what I mean. I'll stand up for a second. I'll show you. See this belt? This belt is so old. It's almost embarrassing. I don't know if you can tell. See how the leather wore off? But this is my belt that I use to tell from my weight, because I've had this belt for like 15 years, and I when I didn't like drink for that 30 days, I went down one notch. It's really interesting. I only lost a couple of pounds, but I think I really lost some body fat. I took this one picture. My wife made me pull it because when I walk, I walk, in this park, and the only place I can take a picture of myself is when I go into the bathroom. Maybe I'll take a quick photo because I like to compare. And I took a photo. I thought I looked pretty good, pretty lean in it. But this bathroom stall's behind me, and I posted on Instagram saying, "Oh, I'm turning 61. I haven't been drinking, blah, blah, blah." My wife made me pull. She said, "Mike, you look like a weirdo. You can't take pictures of yourself in the bathroom like that. People will think you hang out in bathrooms." So I pulled the photo, but I don't know. I think I'm going to go another 30 days of no drinking at all again, starting on Monday. So, and maybe I'll look extra lean for my birthday. We'll see. Yeah, 16-8 with proper nutrition. No, totally agree, Chris. I should, Chris, you should do this type of stuff. You're so good at this. Yes, I mean, there's no such thing as just not eating for 16 hours and eating whatever you want for 8 hours. To reverse this type 2 diabetes and to improve, lower your triglycerides and have all the numbers, you have to eat like I'm talking about. No junk food, whole natural foods, high protein, fruits, vegetables, fiber, things like that, of course. And really, I know Chris does too. I like the low to moderate carbohydrate approach, no question about it, especially for reversing type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance and things like that, no question about it. Like my sweet spot's about 100, maybe some days 150 grams of carbs, mostly in the form of high fiber type carbs, like the avocados, the vegetables and things like that. And even and if you're going net carbs, then much lower, like less than 100 grams of net carbs. You can even do well with that. Okay, so I feel like I'm a little off track here. Okay, so the third one was the continuous tension. This is another technique that I love when you're older because it makes a lightweight feel heavy. So continuous tension means keeping tension on the muscle throughout the entire set by avoiding full lockout or relaxing during reps. That's what it means. Like, I've seen so many people lift weights like this for like say you're doing a bench press and you lock out. When you're locked out, like your elbow, tibia, femur, there's almost no tension on your chest. Maybe a little bit, but almost none. It's almost like resting every single rep. It's different if you're a powerlifter and you're, like a powerlifting that the ball has to touch your chest that you got to lock out. It's a different way of training. You want to keep continuous tension on the muscles when you're working out. You can take a light to moderate weight, get a great pump by just not locking out and not like people think, oh, you're not training a full range of motion. You really are. Even if you locked out but quickly came out of it, as long as you're not resting in these locked out positions. Same thing when you're squatting. If you're squatting but you're locking your knees on top and totally resting on top, you're taking the tension off your quads and your glutes, right? That's why I like RDLs. It's like that Romanian deadlift, because as long as you don't come like up into like overextending your back, you're keeping that continuous tension on your hamstrings and your lats. Even when you're curling, you don't rest on bottom. You don't go too high on top. If you go too high on top, the weight is balanced. You stop here. You go. I always tell people like 17/18ths, in these ranges of motion. Like you're doing a lot pull down. You're not locking your elbows on top and like resting and letting your scapula lift. You're just extending, coming right down. Like things like that. Keep that continuous tension on the muscle. It's a little bit more of a hypertrophy bodybuilding technique as opposed to a strength technique. It really, I love it. It can get a little confusing on when you don't want to lock out. Like an exercise though, on something like say you're doing a tricep push down with ropes, like like the cable's coming from here. You're standing and you're pushing down, but the gravity's coming from there. You can't extend there fully because you still have tension. But when you're coming up, if you look at the angle, this is where the weight is balanced and there's no tension. I know it can get a little confusing on when the weight is maximal or when it's less. That's why machines are so good, because machines have a cam, right? Which spreads the resistance throughout the entire cam. Based on like biomechanics and the moment on, the length of, and when muscles attach, there are certain points in which the weight is heavier or lighter. Like another example would see, like say you're doing a lateral raise, an exercise I want Alexandra to start doing. Say I'm holding a dumbbell here. When the weight's at my side, there's no tension on my shoulder. But as I lift the weight and my arm is here, just think how long. It's almost like the fulcrum of a seesaw. The fulcrum's all the way at the end, at the top of my shoulder. This 3-pound dumbbell feels like 20 pounds when it's up here. So when you're doing a lateral raise and you want continuous tension, don't go all the way down. When you go down, go down just to about here. Keep some distance, because if you go all the way down to your side, you're resting. So if you want to make a 3-pound dumbbell feel like 20 pounds, stay within the range where the weight feels heavy, because the body always finds the easiest way to do everything. And you can use that concept with pretty much every exercise you do. You can make it harder, like by keeping that continuous tension. I love this technique. One of my favorite techniques. Let's see. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so let's go number 3. Yeah, this is another one of my favorite. So let's talk about Arthur Jones now a little bit. This is pre-exhaustion. Okay, pre-exhaustion. This could be a little confusing too, but it's one of my favorite techniques. I think Chris liked the video. I just released a in stories, but if you go to my Instagram page, even on shorts, you're gonna look at when I train my back. Like I did 3 exercises in a row, and I used pre-exhaustion. This is what it means: performing an isolated exercise targeting a specific muscle group first, followed by a compound exercise that involves multiple muscle groups to enhance muscle engagement. I know that sounds confusing. Let me explain to you what it means. Let's say you're doing a bench press. Let's say Alexandra's doing her push-ups. Okay, you're doing a pushing motion off the floor, right? What are you primarily working? You're working your chest, which is a big muscle. You're working your anterior deltoid, the front of your shoulder, right? Because it's called horizontal adduction, like it's moving your arm across. And then you're working your triceps. These are pushing muscles. Generally, when you do a push-up or when you do a bench press, it's really hard to get your chest to get exhausted and fatigued, because it's the biggest muscle group in this compound movement. There are weaker links in the exercise, like the front of your shoulder or your triceps are generally weaker. They're smaller than your chest. So if you want to really isolate your chest, and Arthur Jones was a big believer in this, it's been debated now, but I'm still a big believer of it, that if you first did an exercise that just really worked your chest more, like a set of like a pec deck or maybe a dumbbell fly, which really works your chest, a little anterior deltoid, but doesn't really work your triceps much, and then with no rest went to a pushing motion like a push-up, you're going to work your chest more. I love that technique. And you use that in so many different things. It would also be like doing a set of leg extensions, which only works your quads, and then doing a set of like squats, which works your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, right? It could be like first do a set of dumbbell pullovers, which works your lats but doesn't work your biceps, and then do a set of like seated rows or a set of lat pull downs. See, Arthur Jones, with Nautilus equipment, had this all set up. It was really incredible. You don't really see Nautilus equipment around too much, but almost every piece of equipment with 2 exercises on the same piece of equipment. Like when it came to doing shoulders, same thing. When you do a shoulder press, deltoids and triceps, your triceps generally fatigue sooner. So he had a machine where you would sit there. First you do a set of lateral raises and no rest. You grab the handles, go right to a set of shoulder presses. He had a machine where you would do a pec deck for chest, no rest, right to the bench press. He had a pullover machine, right to lat pull down. He had a leg extension machine on the same machine, and then you go right to a leg press. I just loved it. But you can reduplicate that at the gym or at your home. Like like Alexandra, if you get those bands, you can do a set of flies with the bands and then go right down to your push-ups. You probably won't make 20, and you're going to feel them more in your chest. You can do a set of pullovers and then do your dumbbell row. So I love the method. It's great. Oh, thanks, Faye. Priceless information. Oh, that's really cool. I appreciate it. Yeah, I love pre-exhaustion. It's one of my favorite techniques too. And I use these to my day. Like I try to keep the weights relatively moderate to light most of the time by using all techniques like this. And I'll get that incredible metabolic stress, that burn from these pre-exhaustion methods. I absolutely love it. Even though there's been a couple of recent studies in the last 10 years that say, it may not work as well as people thought. But I think it does. Okay, number 5, slow rep cadence. I love this method too. I find that most people get hurt, especially when you're older, in the gym at the point of transformation by going too quickly. And this is what I mean. Let's say you're doing a bench press. When you're lowering the weight and then you have to pause for a millisecond and then change direction, that's when people get hurt, at the change of direction. And if you're training quickly, like you're letting the weight fall and you're catching it on bottom and then trying to power it up, that's when you're going to tear a muscle. That's when you're going to hurt yourself. Not that, training quickly does produce results. There's no question about it. It's more explosive. Like if you're a football player and you want to pop and you want to, there are benefits to training quickly and explosively. But when it comes to being older and when it comes to putting on muscle, I like a slow rep cadence. I do, especially eccentrically. I like that classic 3 seconds down. Like say you're doing a push-up, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, and then 2 seconds concentrating, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 5 second rep cadence. Love it. If you're doing like 5 second rep cadence with continuous tension and something like a pre-exhaustion, you're getting an incredible workout with moderate weights. I love it. So I love a slow rep cadence. The other thing I just like higher reps. Higher reps get more challenging when you're doing a slow rep cadence, because if you're doing 20 reps at a 5 second, that's a 100-second set. That's a long set. So maybe you wouldn't want to use a 5 second rep cadence with 20 reps. Maybe just, a 3 second rep cadence, 2 seconds down, 1 second up. But I love high reps. And research is saying, I'm repeating myself saying that you can build any physique you want doing high reps. All the old time bodybuilders like the Steve Reeves, the first Hercules, all those old time guys, they were high rep guys. And plus I like the idea of warming up within the set. Like if you're doing 20 reps with a weight, those first 5-10 repetitions are not going to be that difficult, and you can kind of like pattern the motion neurologically to recruit more muscles to contract. There's a lot of neural fatigue when you do higher reps because you have to really concentrate. It's more demanding. I think high rep training is harder too than just like lifting heavy weights and doing a triple, in my opinion. When it gets crazy heavy, that's a little different, like when you're powerlifting. But I think a good 18 rep set is more demanding, more challenging than doing like 8 to 12 reps, in my opinion. Plus, and I just love high rep training. I think it's great. Let's go. Last slide here. Sorry guys, I hope not taking too long for this thing. I know we lost a few people. There's another technique that I love too. They're called supersets or giant sets. Supersets involves performing 2 exercises back to back with little to no rest. A giant set would be 3 or more, but it's on the same muscle group. So, and I train like this too. I like this a lot too. So say I'm training, okay, this is an example of when I trained my back in that Instagram video on In Short, where I did 3 exercises for my back, one right after another. So like I did a set of seated rows for back, no rest. Then I did a set of high cable pullovers for back, no rest, lat pull down, back, no rest. 1, 2, 3, then you rest. I like that technique a lot too. Same thing for chest. You can do like push-ups, dumbbell flies, maybe incline bench press, something like that, right? Or you can do like a leg extension, leg curl, dumbbell squats, something like that. I mean, I like training like that. Just hit the muscle group, 1, 2, 3. I'm not a big rester in between sets. You get so much done in such a short amount of time. That's another technique I love. Okay, number 8. This is a little bit more advanced, and I'm going to modify it a little bit. This is called, you may not have heard of this one. This is called rest pause training. I'll read what it is, and then I'll break it down for you. After reaching muscle, you're supposed to go to muscle failure, but I added close to muscle failure because I don't want anyone to hurt themselves here. So after reaching close to muscle failure on a particular exercise, take like a very short rest and attempt an additional few repetitions to increase muscle fatigue. So this is what I mean by that. You can even use the push-up as an example. Let's say you're doing a set of push-ups. Alexandra's like she gets to her last rep, 20 reps. She's really working hard. She's done. Instead of like taking a full recovery, like waiting like 2 minutes to fully recover, you only take 10-15 seconds and then you do as many reps as you can. It's almost like a drop down in a way, right? So say Alexandra does her 20 reps. She typically maybe does 3 sets of 20 reps, but she rests for 20 minutes in between. She only rests 10-15 seconds and maybe can only do 3 reps. Then she rests 10 seconds and maybe can only do 1 rep. It's like they call it rest pause training. Another example, like say you're bench pressing, you're bench pressing 100 pounds 12, 13 times. You're at your last rep, you rack the weight. Instead of resting 2 minutes, you just count to 10. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, you grab the weight again, maybe you can only do 4 reps. Then you rack it, you count to 10, then maybe you can only do 2 reps. That's like rest pause training. I like that technique too. I like that with more isolated movements too, like say curls. Say I'm curling those 30-pound dumbbells for 15 reps. Instead of drop down and grabbing 20s and continue, I put the 30 pounds down, I count to 10, grab them again. Maybe I can only make 7 reps. Count to 10, maybe then I do another set, I can only make 2 reps. So it's kind of like you're resting within one big set. It's a great technique. I really like that a lot too. And then the last one, this is real simple, kind of like what we were talking about with Alexander. This is like just upper lower body supersetting. I kind of like that too. The only negative on this is that it's a little demanding on blood supply, meaning that like when you're training your upper body, like say you're doing a set of like push-ups or bench pressing, all the blood is rushing to your chest, shoulders, and triceps. But then when you go to do your legs, all the blood's going to rush into your legs and quads. So some people find that a little demanding. I still think it's a good technique though. So for example, like you're alternating between upper and lower body exercises to work different muscle groups, increasing overall training efficiency. So this is if you want to save time too. Instead of training antagonistic muscle parts, just go upper, lower, upper, lower. So for example, you can do like a set of squats. Say you're doing dumbbell squats, then you do a set of like lat pull downs. Then you do a set of lunges, right? And then you do a set of say bench press. Then you do a set of leg press. Then you do a set of seated rows. You go upper, lower, upper, lower, upper, lower. That's another great technique of doing it. So there you go, guys. That's the 9. Let's see, what did I title this? Mastering weight training up to 50. It's really 9, and it's really like 9 methods. 9 methods to build muscle. 9 proven methods to build muscle at 50. I like that picture. I like that thumbnail too. I just pulled that guy off of I use Canva a lot to get these like stock photos. Like I pay for those photos. Not much though. All right, there we go. Hope you guys enjoyed it. How long we go? We got 1 hour and 7 minutes. Pretty good. I said I want to get my walk in before my friends come over. But any questions, guys and gals? I appreciate everyone showing up. It was just this was really great. I think we had a decent amount of people in here today. As you notice, I'm trying to diversify a little bit, and as opposed to only doing stuff on intermittent fasting and time-restricted eating, I'm going to start doing more things on working out and fitness and things like that. Even though you know what I'm trying to do. Hey, thanks, Herb. I really appreciate it. Like I talked about this before. YouTube is such a difficult beast to conquer. That's why Thomas Law. I don't know how the guy got 3 million followers doing different type of content. Like I'm so known for intermittent fasting online now that whenever I do like a fitness type video, it does so poorly. But I think when I'm looking at it now, I'm gonna kind of focus in, guys. Even if you're younger, I still think you're gonna benefit from this too. I'm gonna try to make videos now on different topics when it comes to fitness, health, weight loss. But I'm gonna try to gear it to people like 40 or so and older more, and that's gonna be my niche more. But I'm gonna try to start talking about different things. Oh, hey, Chris, thanks again. Chris always give me a super chat. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Thanks for the great advice. Very informative. You know so much and explain everything perfectly. A true professional. Thank you all. Thank you for all you do. Oh, no, I really appreciate it, Chris. It's so nice. Yeah, really. And you're helping me a lot, too. I really appreciate all your help and advice you give me as well, too. That was great. So that's what I'm going to try to do going forward. I'm going to gear it more to an older population, or middle-aged and over, all my content. But I'm going to start doing, different topics, not just intermittent fasting and eating. I'm going to try to do more things about working out and just active lifestyle and things like that. All right, guys. So any more questions before I go? I know there's always like about. I didn't see Jeff this week. Maybe Jeff's busy this week, or maybe I went on a little early today, so maybe he couldn't make it. I feel bad too. Remember Gene? I don't know if you guys remember Gene. Remember Gene used to always show up. Hope I didn't say anything that upset him, but he used to show up all the time, and then I don't I don't see him anymore. So I hope he's doing okay. I know he was doing really good, and that. Let me see. Hey, Herb, thanks so much, Herb, too. I really appreciate it. $5 from Herb Super Chat. This is great. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. That's great. Okay, let's see, Chris. Okay. I'm doing your back workout over the age of 40. Okay, this is great, Chris. I'm doing your back workout over the age of 40. You were talking about it earlier and loved. Oh, that's great, Chris. See that, Chris? That has a little bit of all this because it's a giant set, 1, 2, 3. But if you notice the order in which I did the exercises, like first I did a seated row, right? Back, biceps. So what's most likely going to fatigue are your biceps when you do a seated row. But then I went to that cable pullover. That gives me an incredible burn. You know, it pumps the lats up, but your biceps are resting when you do that. So your biceps recover, which are the weak link. But then when you go do your lat pull down, you're really able to hit the back because your biceps are resting. If you did the order a different way, it would be really hard on the biceps. That back workout would turn into a bicep workout because, for example, if you did like seated rows, and and your biceps are real tight, then go right to a lat pull down and your biceps are real tight, you wouldn't be able to hit your back. You would probably hit your back well with the pullover. Some people do like, they call it a reverse pre-exhaustion, where they would do like the seated row before the pullover. I like that too. But if you're going to do a giant set, if you're going to do 3 exercises in a row, you got to let the weak link rest. So if you were doing something like a bench press, you wouldn't want to go like bench press, dumbbell bench press, and then fly. You want to go bench press, fly, then like incline a dumbbell bench press. So let the triceps like take a little bit of a rest by doing a fly in between. Just keep that in mind if you're doing it too. So it would be the same thing in legs. Like if you're doing squat, say dumbbell squat, you want to do a leg extension, then like press. It gets hard to do these things though. When like my gym, I can do them because I'm in there by myself. It's hard if you're going to Anytime Fitness though. I think that's a gym that doesn't get too busy. That you're probably doing it there. If you're going to Planet Fitness or something, it could be kind of rough. And do the train like that because you need access to like 2 or 3 pieces of equipment at once. Okay, so I'm going to reach out to see when you. Oh yeah, we never spoke, Susan. Definitely. Yeah, you definitely contact me this week for sure, and we'll set up a time. Thanks, you're so professional, priceless. Thanks so much. That's great. I always do the workout in the order you do your dog. Great, Chris. Excellent. Okay. No, you don't need. Okay, not sure what you mean by that. Okay. Is lemon water good for your metabolism? It's hard to say if it's good for your metabolism. Some studies have shown that it can actually help control blood sugar, so possibly. I'm not sure the exact mechanism of why that is, but in my opinion, it's only a couple of calories in half a lemon. It high in vitamin C. I don't think it breaks the fast, Ryan. I love lemon juice. I do it almost every day. Squeeze a lemon. When you watch some of these YouTube videos, some people make incredible claims. It detoxifies the liver and blah blah blah. I don't know. I like it. I think it tastes great. A little bit of electrolytes during my fast. I think it's a great thing. Okay, not good. Only lemon taste is good. Okay, not sure what you mean by that. All right, guys. I'm going to bolt, but thanks again for everything. It was great seeing you guys. I'll see you guys next Sunday. And also let me know any videos you want me to do. I'm going to release, I just did a video. Some gal contacted me who weighs 227 pounds who wants to weigh 190. I'm going to start doing this. I did this in a live on Instagram this week too. I'm going to start doing some specific videos, like just short, like 1 minute videos for people, telling them the amount of calories, how many, similar to what we did with what's his name again? I forgot his name. Was it Colin? Yeah. It's similar to what I did with Cornell. Well, I'm going to just quickly bang out like a 60-second video showing people how many calories, how many grams of protein, work out. I'm going to start doing that. So look for that video this week. I think I came out pretty good. All right, guys. Thanks again. Have a great day. Enjoy your company. Enjoy the company this afternoon. Thanks, Chris. I really appreciate it. Take care, guys.